Hey guys, welcome back to Susan Shares. Well, as is the case most of the time, children really do teach us a lot of lessons. And yesterday, Adeline, our granddaughter, really taught me a lesson. She didn't know she was doing it at the time, but she's learned something new. She's learned how to take a shower. She's graduated from baths to showers. And so she was so excited to show Honey. And so I went in there and she picked up that squeegee and she started cleaning the shower instead of cleaning herself. And it was so funny to me. And that also, I immediately thought, oh, the longer she did it, the more I thought, that is a very valuable lesson to me, and it's a very valuable lesson to all of us. And I couldn't wait. I thought about Scripture. I thought about my own life that, I pick up the squeegee so many times, metaphorically speaking, instead of just cleaning myself and working on myself. And that's what Adeline was doing innocently, but she was having so much fun. I mean, it was hard to get her to clean herself because she was wanting to clean the shower and with a squeegee, and that's what we do. And it brought me to a Scripture that I had memorized for years, and I do have it memorized mainly, but I use the Susan Goss translation instead of the true translation. But it's in Matthew 7, 3 through 5. I'm going to read it as best I can. I am now in a giant print Bible, hello, and I can barely read it, but it is Matthew 7, 3. It says, "Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye?" Plank is so true, so true. How can you say to your brother, "Let me take the speck out of your eye," when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite. First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck out of your brother's eye. So very true. We've got to take care of our own business. And it reminded me right now, in my own personal life, I am in a relationship that I'm having to do business with God, with Jesus, work with Jesus right now. And I'm asking God, what is my role? And so show me my role in that struggle, in that relationship. And he's revealing to me. And I'm so glad that God brought that relationship in my life, because it's drawn me closer to Jesus. And, and I have said time and time again on Susan Shares, always stay connected to the vine. And if we do, he's going to reveal to us truth, because truth sets us free. So I'm staying very close to the vine in this relationship, and God's revealing my role that I played in that, and then the role that I did not play, that I have to release to God, and that I'm having to do some forgiveness work in that relationship. And so what I don't own, and what I own, I've got to work through that, and then eventually go to that person. But right now I'm just doing my work with Jesus, because I don't want any spirit of offense. I don't want to harbor any bitterness. I don't want any pride. I don't want any of that, because you know what? That goes into other relationships, and it affects, our spiritual, it affects our spiritual growth, and it affects our spiritual journey. And we want to stay close to the vine, and God guide us through this. And so when I think of a plank, I think, of course, a plank is a flat piece of wood. And I even think of a plank, an exercise. And I've had somebody at the gym tell me what a plank was, and to challenge me for my goal to be a 5-minute plank. Oh, my word, 5 minutes. I've gotten up to a 3-minute plank or a 3.5-minute plank before, and that just about killed me. And I think of that, time limit, and think, and that's the first thing that came to my mind, actually, when I read this, is a plank. Oh, and I've got that in my eye. I've got this piece of wood or a plank, that exercise, and how long it took me to work up to that. And I've got that, and I have no business looking at, and somebody has a piece of sawdust, God says, in their eye, and I've got a plank in mine. I need to first go to God, and it's between me and God. God, what's my part in this? And if he says, no, you don't have any part in that, then I don't own their stuff. But if I own any part of it, I've got to do business with God. And like I said, in this relationship that I'm working through, if there's forgiveness piece, I've got a lot of work to do, because I don't want to leave with a spirit of offense, and I don't want to leave anything shoved under the rug. I've got work to do with Jesus. And the person may, if God tells me to go and to that person, then I need to go. And if he tells me not to, that I just have work to do with him, then whatever God tells me to do, I will do. And so that, it's a great reminder. And so metaphorically speaking, we may need to put down the squeegee and do work on ourselves. And so it was a great reminder and a good metaphor that Adeline gave us yesterday. So you think about that and have a great day. Love you. Bye-bye.